Have you ever stopped and wondered who is the one inside your mind listening to your thoughts right now? It is not your name, your job, or your memories. It is the part of you that is simply aware. Here is something unsettling. You can observe your thoughts, your emotions, and even the physical sensations of your body. But if you can observe all of these things, you must ask yourself, who exactly is the observer? This question has fascinated philosophers, mystics, and scientists for thousands of years, challenging our deepest sense of self. Once you truly understand this distinction, you will never experience your own mind in the same way again. The greatest prison is not the world around you. It is the belief that you are every thought. Today, we are going to decode consciousness and walk through a simple exercise to change your relationship with your mind. Imagine sitting beside a river where leaves float downstream. Some are beautiful, some are ugly, some move very quickly. Would you jump into the river every time a leaf passed by? Of course not, that would be exhausting. Yet, this is exactly how most people treat their thoughts, jumping into the current whenever a new idea appears. A thought arrives saying, "I am not good enough," and immediately, we become that thought, feeling its weight. Another thought arrives asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" And suddenly, anxiety takes over our entire mental state. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminded us that people are disturbed not by events, but by their judgments of them. He was not talking about the objective reality of the world, but about our internal interpretation of that reality. The ancient Stoics understood something that modern neuroscience continues to explore. Thoughts happen, but awareness notices them. Across history, nearly every philosophical tradition has wrestled with the same fundamental question. What is consciousness? For Plato, the soul searched for truth beyond appearances, while Descartes found certainty in the act of thinking. But centuries later, philosophers began asking a deeper question. What if the thinking is not the most important part? What if awareness itself is more fundamental than the thoughts that flicker across the surface of your mind? Think about your smartphone. Many apps run at once. Messages, music, maps, and games, all vying for your attention. But beneath every app is the operating system, quietly making every single function possible in the background. Most people spend their entire lives staring at the apps, while philosophy invites us to notice the operating system. Thoughts, emotions, memories, and identities constantly change, but the awareness behind them remains perfectly still. It is the silent background upon which every experience appears, like the vast sky behind passing clouds. The clouds never stay, but the sky does not need to. It simply holds the space for them. Here is where this becomes deeply practical. Imagine someone criticizes you, and your mind begins speaking immediately. It says, "They are right," or "I always fail," or "Nobody respects me," creating a narrative of self-doubt. Now pause. Did those thoughts ask your permission before appearing? No. They simply arrived in your conscious field. If thoughts appear automatically without your consent, why should they define who you truly are at your core? Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal that you have power over your mind, but not over outside events. Most people misunderstand this, thinking it means controlling every single thought, which is an impossible task. Even Marcus experienced anger, fear, frustration, and doubt, just like anyone else living in this complex world. His power came from recognizing that awareness could choose how to respond to these internal mental storms. This tiny space between stimulus and reaction is where true human freedom begins to take root. When you stop identifying with every passing thought, something extraordinary happens to your perspective. You become less reactive, more compassionate toward others, and significantly more resilient in the face of challenges. You begin responding intentionally to your life, instead of living on autopilot, driven by old, habitual patterns. The mind will still create noise, but awareness no longer mistakes that noise for the truth of reality. For most of our lives, we collect labels like successful, failure, parent, introvert, leader, victim, or intelligent. We begin believing these labels are who we are. But think back to when you were 10 years old. You believed different things about yourself then. And at 20, you changed again, as identity is fluid. 5 years from now, your identity will continue evolving, proving that labels are not the real you. If every label changes over time, how can any label be the permanent, real essence of who you are? Many Eastern philosophers compared identity to an actor wearing costumes. The costumes change, but the actor remains. Perhaps consciousness works the same way, and beneath every role you have ever played, there is quiet awareness. The one that is listening to these words right now is the same one that has always been there. Let us finish with something simple. You do not need years of meditation to experience this for yourself. Just 60 seconds. Close your eyes if it is safe to do so, and take one slow, deep breath. Now notice the next thought that appears. Do not chase it, and do not fight it. Just observe. Simply say to yourself, I am noticing a thought, and wait for the next one to arrive. Again, say, I am noticing a thought, and now notice an emotion, like frustration or curiosity. Do you see what is happening? The observer remains calm while experiences come and go like waves. You are no longer trapped inside every thought, because you are witnessing them from a place of distance. Practice this for 1 minute every day, not to stop thinking, but to remember that awareness is larger. Because consciousness is not something you have, it is the space from which you experience absolutely everything. Perhaps the greatest freedom in life begins the moment you realize you are not every thought you think. You are the awareness capable of choosing which thoughts deserve your attention and which ones to let go. If this idea challenged the way you see yourself, leave a comment with one word, aware. Sometimes, the most important journey is not discovering the world, but discovering the one observing it all along. Now that we recognize the observer, how do we actually reclaim agency over our mental state in the heat of the moment? Marcus Aurelius famously taught that our true power lies in the tiny, vital space that exists between a stimulus and our response. Most people live their lives on autopilot, reacting instantly to every impulse. But there is a profound alternative available to you. This gap is where we detach from the rigid labels and roles we have accumulated throughout our lives and our personal histories. Think about it. Our identities, our deeply held beliefs, and our passing thoughts are constantly shifting, evolving, and changing every single day. Because they are in a state of constant flux, they cannot possibly represent the permanent, unchanging core of who you really are. To begin practicing this, try a simple 60-second exercise designed to anchor you firmly back into the position of the observer. Whenever a thought or emotion arises, simply label it silently, saying to yourself, I am noticing a thought of worry or anxiety. By naming these mental events, you create a psychological distance that prevents you from being swept away by the current of reactivity. As you practice this daily, you will realize that consciousness is not something you possess, but the vast space where experience occurs. Ultimately, you are not the chaotic noise of your mind, but the awareness capable of choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. This shift in perspective is the key to building a life of greater resilience, deeper compassion, and more intentional personal growth. By choosing to observe rather than react, you finally step out of the mental prison and into the freedom of awareness. Consider the way a river flows. You are not the water rushing past, but the steady, unmoving bank that watches the current. When you feel the weight of a negative thought, remember that the thought is merely a leaf floating on that rushing river. You do not need to jump into the water to understand the leaf. You only need to watch it pass from the shore. This simple act of witnessing changes the chemical response in your brain, moving you from a state of panic to calm. It is not about suppressing thoughts, as that would be impossible, but about changing your relationship to the noise they create. Even the most experienced thinkers feel doubt, fear, and frustration, but they do not allow these feelings to dictate their actions. They recognize the feeling, acknowledge its presence, and then return their focus to the present moment with clarity and purpose. This is the essence of mindfulness, a tool that has been used for centuries to navigate the complexities of the human experience. By observing, you reclaim the power that was previously lost to the automatic patterns of your mind and your past conditioning. Each time you label a thought, you are strengthening the neural pathways of awareness, making it easier to stay centered tomorrow. You are training your brain to recognize that you are the sky, and your thoughts are merely the clouds passing through. Clouds can be dark, stormy, or bright, but the sky remains untouched, vast, and fundamentally clear regardless of the weather. This realization is the foundation of emotional intelligence, allowing you to navigate difficult conversations and high-stress environments with grace. Instead of being a victim of your own mind, you become the conscious architect of your own internal landscape and reactions. The labels you have collected over the years, successful, failure, parent, leader, are just costumes worn by the actor within you. When the play ends, the actor remains, ready to step into a new role without being defined by the previous one. This is the freedom that comes from knowing you are not the script, but the one who reads and interprets it. As you continue this practice, you will notice that your reactions become slower, more thoughtful, and significantly more aligned with values. You are no longer living in the past or worrying about the future. You are anchored firmly in the present awareness. This is a lifelong journey of discovery, where each moment of observation brings you closer to your true, authentic self. There is no limit to how deep this awareness can go, and there is no limit to the peace you can find. Keep returning to the observer, keep noticing the thoughts, and keep choosing the path of intentionality over the path of reaction. You are the awareness that makes all experience possible, and in that realization, you find the greatest freedom of all.